The second Emma stepped into room 9A, laughter died. 10 men in tailored suits turned at once, and the silence hit so hard it felt like someone had closed a fist around her throat. If you want to see how this night ends, hit like, subscribe, and comment what city you're watching from. Because Emma's story doesn't stay inside this restaurant. 5 minutes earlier, her biggest fear was getting fired. Lark was all marble, candlelight, and prices that made people whisper. Emma's shoes were cheap, her smile was practiced, and her phone kept buzzing in her apron with the hospital's number. Final notice. Her little sister's name sat on that bill like a sentence. If she didn't pay, they would review treatment options. "Table 12, her manager said, gripping her elbow as she passed. "Do not mess this up. They're important." Important meant they could ruin you with a complaint and laugh while they did it. Table 12 had a velvet rope around it like a private zoo exhibit. 6 men. Expensive watches, loud voices, no guilt. The one in the middle didn't even look up. He snapped 2 fingers at the air. Emma walked in anyway. "Good evening, I'm Emma. Can I start you?" "Emma," he repeated, eyes sliding to her name tag. Then down, then back up. "Cute. How old are you?" 24. He smiled like he'd won something. "Chase." The others smirked. One lifted his phone, already recording, as if her face belonged to his feed. They ordered 2 bottles of Bordeaux and a whiskey Emma would need a dictionary to pronounce. She uncorked the first bottle, poured, kept her hand steady. A single drop splashed on the white tablecloth. Chase stared at it like she'd spit. "Oh no," he said softly, and the table laughed. "Careful, Emma. This isn't a diner." Heat climbed her neck. She dabbed the cloth, nodded, swallowed the humiliation the way she swallowed every humiliation. Fast, quiet, and without choking. Chase leaned in, close enough that she smelled mint and arrogance. "You always work nights, Emma? Or is this a special performance for the poor little rich boys?" "My job is to serve your table." "My job," he said, "is to have fun." He tapped the wine list with one finger. "Room upstairs, 9A. Bring the second bottle. 5 minutes. In and out. Just for fun." "I can't," Emma said. "I have other tables." His smile stayed, but his eyes sharpened. "You can. I'll tip you 10 grand. $10,000 wasn't a tip. It was rent. It was medicine. It was her sister breathing without a machine. Her phone buzzed again, like it was begging her to say yes. "I don't do that," Emma said. "Do what?" Chase spread his hands, innocent. "Drink wine in a private room? You think I'm a monster, Emma? That's adorable." Her manager appeared at her shoulder, too fast. "Everything okay here?" Chase didn't even glance at Emma. He looked at the manager like he owned him. "She's coming upstairs." Emma opened her mouth, but the manager's palm pressed lightly between her shoulder blades, steering her back as if she were a chair. "Of course," he said, smile glued on. Then, barely moving his lips, "Don't make this a thing." He wasn't protecting her. He was protecting himself. Emma took the second bottle from the service station. The bartender looked past her like she wasn't there. The hostess caught her sleeve. "Emma," she whispered, "don't go." "I have to," Emma whispered back, and hated how true it was. The hallway to the private rooms swallowed the restaurant's noise. Carpet thick, lights dim, walls lined with photos of men cutting ribbons and shaking hands with politicians. Staff called Room 9 the King's Room because only the biggest names ever went inside. A security guard stood near the end, broad shoulders, blank face. He glanced at the bottle, then at Emma, then stepped aside without a word. Room 9. A waited. Brass handle. No window. Inside, voices rolled like low thunder. One man speaking, everyone else listening. Emma pictured her sister's pale face on a hospital pillow. Then she pushed the door open. And that was when the room went silent. Room 9. A wasn't a party room. It was a boardroom with velvet curtains, a long table, crystal glasses nobody touched, and on the wall, a security feed of the restaurant floor, frozen mid-frame. 10 men in suits sat like statues. Not drunk, not joking. Watching. At the head of the table was the man from the framed photos downstairs. Iron grey hair, steady eyes. A face that didn't need to smile to be obeyed. Victor Hale. Emma's grip tightened on the bottle. "I'm sorry, I was told—" "Emma," Victor said, reading her name tag as if it confirmed something. "Close the door." The latch clicked. The sound felt final. Only then did she see Chase near the bar. His phone was half raised, his grin stuck in place, like he'd expected laughter and got a funeral instead. Victor didn't look at him yet. He looked at Emma. "You helped Ava," he said. A small movement from the corner. A teenage girl sat on a sofa with a cardigan wrapped tight around her shoulders, both hands on a water glass. A pearl hairpin. Pale lips. She met Emma's eyes and gave the faintest nod. The girl from the lobby. The choking. The panic Emma hadn't had time to process. "Yes," Emma said. She couldn't breathe. Victor's gaze slid to Chase, slow and merciless. "And you invited my employee upstairs for fun." Chase let out a quick laugh. "It was a joke. Relax. She came, didn't she?" Nobody laughed with him. Victor's voice stayed calm. "In my building, no one buys entertainment with humiliation." Chase shrugged, trying to make it light. "You're acting like she's family." Victor finally looked straight at him. "Tonight, she might as well be." Emma felt her stomach drop. What did that mean? Victor's hand lifted, palm open. A man beside him placed a slim black card into it. Victor slid it across the table toward Emma. "Take it," he said. "That number reaches my security chief. If anyone corners you, you call. Day or night." Emma stared at the card. "Sir, I don't want trouble." Victor's eyes didn't blink. "You already have it. You just haven't been told." He nodded once toward the screen. It changed. A different camera angle. The hallway by the hostess stand. Emma, earlier, phone to her ear, face tight with fear. The hospital's name visible on the caller ID for a heartbeat before it vanished. Emma's throat went dry. He'd been watching the floor. Chase scoffed, uncomfortable now. "So, you spy on your staff?" Victor didn't even turn his head. "I protect my staff." Then, back to Emma. Businesslike, sharp. "Tell me something. In the last hour, have you seen anything off? A door propped, a delivery at the wrong time, someone in the wrong uniform?" Emma hesitated. Reporting things was how you got labeled difficult. But Victor Hale was asking, and the room was listening. "I saw a man with a duffel," she said carefully. "No badge, not kitchen, not security. He went through the service elevator corridor by the back office, and nobody stopped him." The man with the earpiece beside Victor shifted instantly, like a switch had been flipped. Victor didn't show surprise, only decision. He tilted his chin a fraction toward the earpiece man. "Quietly," Victor said. "Yes, sir," the man answered, touching his ear. Chase rolled his eyes, trying to reclaim control. "This is insane. It's a restaurant." Victor's mouth curved. Not a smile. A warning. "It's my restaurant." He looked at Emma again, and the tone softened just enough to be human. "Go back downstairs. Finish your shift. And don't let anyone lead you somewhere you didn't choose." Emma picked up the black card. It was heavier than it should have been. She set the wine bottle on a side table and backed toward the door. The suits watched her leave like she was part of a meeting agenda. In the hallway, the restaurant noise rushed back under the door like water finding a crack. Emma slipped the card into her apron and started for the stairs, walking slower now, listening harder, as if the building had teeth and she'd only just noticed them. Downstairs, Lark looked the same. Candles, jazz, silverware. But Emma could feel the place change, like the building had teeth and she'd only just noticed. She forced her hands to work. Wipe, reset, smile. Normal, because panic was a luxury. Chase came back down with a grin that didn't reach his eyes. He didn't sit. He made sure people saw him. "Emma," he called, loud enough for nearby tables, "you vanish upstairs and come back shaking. Should we be worried?" Heads turned. Emma kept her voice flat. "Your second bottle is in the private room. I can have it brought down." "Oh, I'll get my own wine," Chase said. "I'm more interested in your attitude." He snapped his fingers. "Manager." Her manager arrived like a servant. "Mr. Kerr, is there a problem?" Chase pointed at Emma. "She refused what I asked. Then she went upstairs anyway. I don't like being lied to." "Emma, office, now," the manager said. In the hallway, his smile dropped. "What did you do?" "I served a table," Emma said. He leaned close. "He says you disrespected him. He says you implied he was inappropriate." "I didn't." "Doesn't matter," he hissed. "Do you know who he is? He can shut this place down with one call." Emma thought of room 9A, of the silence. "Are you firing me?" she asked. "I should," he said. "But he'll let it go if you apologize and comp dessert." Comp dessert, like humiliation could be refunded. Her phone buzzed in her apron. Final notice, she could almost read it without looking. She swallowed. "I'll apologize." "Good. And don't go wandering upstairs again. That's not your place. Not your place. Not your life." Emma walked back out with her smile reattached. She approached table 12 and delivered the apology like it was part of the menu. "I'm sorry for any misunderstanding, Mr. Kerr. We'd like to offer dessert on the house." Chase held her gaze a beat too long. "See? That wasn't hard." His fingers brushed her wrist as she turned, light as a joke, heavy as a warning. "Room 9A later. Don't make me ask twice." Emma pulled her hand free without looking at him again. Her manager watched from the edge of the room, satisfied, as if he'd fixed everything. But now she watched. The back corridor door was supposed to stay shut. Tonight, it sat cracked open, held by a rubber doorstop that hadn't been there earlier. A man in a plain black hoodie crossed the hallway with a duffel bag and a head down. No badge, no apron, not staff. Emma's pulse spiked. She slipped into the linen alcove and dialed the number on Victor Hale's card. "Security," a low voice answered. "My name is Emma. Victor Hale gave me this number," she whispered. "There's a man with a duffel by the service elevator. The back door is propped." "Which side?" "Host stand. Service corridor." "Copy," the voice said. "Do not approach. If you see Ava Hale, tell me." Emma's stomach dropped. Ava was the girl. She ended the call and stepped out, heart thudding. Across the dining room, Ava appeared near the entrance with two women, moving fast, not enjoying the restaurant at all. And behind them, slipping between tables like he belonged there, was the hoodie man. Emma didn't think. She just moved. She crossed the floor carrying a tray to look normal. Ava turned into the hallway by the restrooms, the perfect blind spot. The hoodie man followed. Emma cut through the staff passage and reached the corner first. Ava stepped in, eyes wide, confused. The hoodie man's hand slid toward his pocket. Emma set her tray down hard, blocking the narrow space, and lifted her chin like she owned the hall. "Ava," she said, calm on purpose, "your father asked me to bring you back upstairs, right now." Ava blinked, then nodded, trusting her. The man in the hoodie stopped 2 steps away, eyes flicking over Emma like he was measuring how loud her scream would be. The hoodie man looked past Emma at Ava like the girl was a labelled package. "Move," he said, flashing a phone screen with a fake badge. "Security sweep." Ava's breath caught behind Emma. "Then call your supervisor," Emma said. "Ava's father wants her upstairs." The word father cracked his composure. He lunged, reaching around Emma for Ava's wrist. Emma slammed her shoulder into him. The tray hit the tile, silver skittering. "Run!" she snapped. Ava slipped away toward the dining room. The man grabbed Emma's apron instead and yanked. Pain flashed through her arm as she hit the wall. Emma dug out Victor Hale's black card and stabbed redial on her phone with shaking fingers. "Security," the low voice answered. "It's happening," Emma gasped. "Restroom hall. He's trying to take her." "Hold position," the voice said. The man heard it, and his politeness died. He drove his forearm across Emma's collarbone, pinning her, trying to force the service door. "Where is she?" he hissed. Not yours, Emma choked out, shoving back into him with everything she had. Footsteps, fast, quiet. Let her go. Two men in black closed in from both ends of the corridor. The guard from upstairs and another, older, heavier, calm as stone. The hoodie man froze, hands half raised. Misunderstanding? He started. Hands up, the older man said. The hoodie man bolted anyway. He didn't make it 3 steps. A shoulder hit him, hard, and they crashed into a linen cart. Towels burst into the air. The duffel straps slid, and the older guard ripped the bag free and threw it down the hall. It split open. Emma saw plastic ties, tape, and a hotel keycard. A plan, not a prank. A kitchen door snapped open. The hostess stood there, eyes flat with anger, not surprise. Stop, she barked, at security, not the attacker. Then she looked at Emma like Emma had ruined her night. You! Emma's stomach dropped. The propped door. The timing. Inside, help. A voice filled the corridor, cold and controlled. What did you think would happen in my house? Victor Hale stepped into view, suit flawless, eyes lethal. Ava clung to his sleeve, shaking but alive. Behind Victor, security marched Chase in like luggage. His grin was gone. His face had gone grey. Victor took in Emma against the wall, the attacker pinned, the hostess standing too still. Then he looked at Chase. You brought them in, Victor said. Chase swallowed. It was supposed to be fun, just a scare. Victor didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. You offered $10,000 to lure my waitress upstairs, he said, and while she was distracted, someone tried to take my daughter through a service corridor. Chase's eyes flicked away. I didn't know they'd do it now. Victor turned to the older guard. Police, now. Lock every exit. Then he faced Emma. You stood in front of my child, he said, and the words landed like a verdict. Emma nodded, throat burning. Victor lifted his phone. On the screen was the hallway camera feed, clear, steady, merciless. The grab, the struggle, the hostess stepping in, Chase hovering at the corridor mouth like he was waiting for the punchline. Every second recorded. Victor's gaze stayed on Chase. You wanted fun, he said. Now you get consequences. Minutes later, sirens climbed toward the building. Ava was secured in Victor's office with guards. The hoodie man was cuffed on the tile. The hostess sat rigid, staring at her hands. Emma stood at the service sink, rinsing blood from her knuckles, listening to the dining room hum as if nothing had happened. Her manager tried to approach with that same oily smile. Victor stopped him with a single look. And for the first time all night, Emma understood the silence she'd walked into upstairs. It wasn't about her being small. It was about someone powerful deciding she wasn't disposable. The police came through the back entrance first. Quiet, efficient, already briefed. The older guard handed them the duffel, the zip ties, the tape. The hoodie man's wrists disappeared into cuffs with a metallic click that made the hallway feel real again. The hostess tried to talk her way out. You don't understand, she said, voice too steady. He told me it was a test, a prank. He said the girl would be fine. Victor didn't answer her. He didn't have to. The officer did, flat and bored. Ma'am, you propped a secure door and assisted an attempted abduction. Save it for your attorney. Her face drained. Chase, meanwhile, looked like he'd aged 10 years in 20 minutes. He kept glancing around, as if someone would step in and rescue him. Someone with money, a last name, a quiet deal. But Victor Hale didn't do quiet deals tonight. They moved into room 9A again, because it was the only place in the building where the air didn't vibrate with gossip. Ava sat on the sofa wrapped in a blanket now, her hands around warm tea. Her eyes stayed on Emma like Emma was the only solid thing she trusted. Emma stood near the door, apron stripped off, hands still shaking if she let them. Victor's security chief set a tablet on the table. On it, the footage played without mercy. Chase at table 12, snapping his fingers. Chase pointing upstairs. Chase lingering near the corridor. The hostess holding the door. The hoodie man's grab. Emma's shoulder slam. Ava running. When it ended, the room stayed silent a beat longer than necessary. Victor turned to Chase. "Tell the truth," he said. "Now." Chase's throat bobbed. "It was supposed to be a stunt. They said they'd scare her, make a scene, and I'd look like the hero who noticed and stopped it. Then I'd get what I want." "What you want," Victor repeated, soft, "was to turn a waitress into a toy and my daughter into a prop." Chase flinched like a slap. "I didn't know the guy would bring—" He glanced at the tablet, at the duffel evidence photo. That. Victor leaned forward just enough to shift the entire room. "You didn't ask?" he said. "Because you didn't care." Chase tried one last angle. "You're going to ruin me over a mistake?" Victor's eyes didn't move. "No," he said. "You ruined yourself because you thought you were untouchable." He nodded to the security chief. "Send the footage to the detectives and to my legal team. No edits." Chase's face cracked. "Dad!" Victor's voice cut through him, calm and final. "Don't call me that." The word Dad died in Chase's mouth. Emma thought it was over. The bad guy caught, the rich boy exposed, everyone goes home. Then Victor looked at her. "Emma," he said, and for the first time the power in his voice softened into something heavier than authority. "Why did you go upstairs in the first place?" Emma's throat tightened. This was the part she hated, the part where survival got judged. "I needed the money," she said. "My sister. She's in the hospital. They're going to stop treatment if I don't pay." Victor didn't react like a man hearing a sad story. He reacted like a man hearing a fact that required action. He reached into his jacket, pulled out his phone, and texted without looking down for more than a second. "My assistant will call you in the morning," he said. "Your sister's care continues, in full, immediately." Emma stared. "Sir, I can't—" "You can," Victor said, and this time the firmness was kind. "Because you earned it, and because this is what power is for, when it isn't being wasted." Ava's eyes filled, and she set the cup down. She crossed the room and wrapped her arms around Emma's waist like she'd been holding herself together with thread. "Thank you," she whispered. Emma swallowed hard, one hand hovering before she let herself hold the girl back. "Pressured her," Victor said. "You pressured her," Victor said. "You pushed her into that hallway." The manager opened his mouth. "Mr. Hale, I was trying to keep my restaurant safe?" Victor finished. "No, you were trying to keep your tips safe." Victor's security chief slid a folder onto the table, a termination letter already printed. "Effective immediately," Victor said. "You're done." The manager's knees nearly buckled. Victor turned back to Emma. "If you want to leave this place and never step into another dining room again, you can," he said. "If you want to stay, you won't stay as someone people snap at." Emma's breath came shallow. I didn't do anything special. I just—" "You did," Victor said. "You acted when everyone else stayed comfortable." He paused, as if choosing the exact words that would change her life, without sounding like a promise he couldn't keep. "I'm creating a new role," he said. "Front of house oversight, staff safety, customer conduct. You'll report to my security chief and to me, and you'll be paid like someone whose spine kept my daughter alive." Chase made a small broken sound from the chair where an officer now stood behind him. Victor didn't look at him again. Later, when the police escorted Chase and the hoodie man out through the service exit, the dining room finally noticed something was wrong. Whispers spread like spilled wine. People craned for a view. Phones came out. Emma walked back into the main floor, not in an apron, not carrying plates, just walking. And the room went quiet. Not because she was in trouble, because Victor Hale walked beside her, and everyone in Lark understood what that meant. Emma stopped near table 12. The velvet rope was gone. The chairs sat empty like an abandoned stage. Victor's security chief approached, speaking low. Detectives confirmed this wasn't their first attempt. The hostess was paid. Chase coordinated access. Victor nodded once, then looked at Emma. "Go home," he said. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow, you start a different life." Emma stepped outside into the night air. The city loud again, normal again. Her phone buzzed. Not the hospital. A text from an unknown number. "Your sister's treatment is approved. No further action required." Emma stood on the sidewalk with her hand over her mouth, breathing like she'd been underwater for months, and someone finally pulled her up. Behind her, through the glass, Lark continued. Candles, jazz, expensive laughter. But the kind of laughter that now had limits. Emma walked away without looking back. Because the fun was over, and the silence belonged to her now.